next subject on our list is the origin and the planes. These are two of the most important subjects when using Solidworks. When you start creating your part, you always start with one of the three planes. The crossing point of all three planes is the origin, which is this point. Every part you draw has to be drawn from the origin. The origin is the absolute 0 point. And Solidworks always needs to know where the part or sketch is from the origin. So this always needs to be defined. So we can first start by selecting one of the three planes which we want to start our model from. If we want to draw from the front, then we select the front plane. If we want to draw top down, we select the top plane. And if we want to start from the side, we use side plane, which in this case is called the right plane. Now, let's say we want to draw something from the top. The gasket you'll be drawing, for instance, in lesson 1 will be drawn from the top. You select the top view, and let's just say we want to start making a sketch in that top view. Now you can see the origin changes from blue to red, once again indicating that this is an important point and you always need to start sketching from this point. So when we draw a line, we draw a line from the origin. If we don't draw a line from the origin, so let's just draw a line somewhere in a random place here, you can see there's a difference in color. The line drawn from the origin is black, meaning that line is defined. This other line here is underdefined, it's blue. You can also see that the end point of the line we've drawn from the origin is also blue, meaning the end point of this line is also underdefined, which means if I hold down my left mouse button and drag this point around, I can change the length of the line. This is not preferred because the engineer wants to control how you can actually modify the part if you change the dimension. So we don't want the part to just randomly change. This can cause errors and problems later on. So we always want our part to be completely black when we're done and to be fully defined. How can we make a part fully defined? We can do that by adding dimensions. So if I add a smart dimension in the top left corner here, I can click on that option. You'll see the mouse option itself. The mouse has an extra icon. This is the smart dimension icon. When you see this icon, you know you're in that specific function. You can then click on a line, you get a dimension, and you can drop it. Once you've dropped it, you can enter the desired length. Let's choose 130 millimeters in this case and click on OK. When this is done, I cannot change the length of the part because the length of the part has been defined by the dimension. As you can see now, even the end point and the complete line is black. So this is what we want. We want a completely defined sketch. So it doesn't matter if we draw a circle, a square or a triangle, it always has to be fully defined. And a way by checking this is to see if your entire sketch is black. Now let's say we want to exit this smart dimension function. As you can see in the top left, it's still active. And you can also see that by looking at your mouse icon. There's still a function connected to the icon. If I were to select a line now, I always get the smart dimension option. But let's say I'm done with selecting dimensions. If I click escape, the dimension I just added is removed, and if I click escape again, as you can see, my mouse goes back to the normal appearance and the smart dimension button is also unchecked. So now I've exited that function. So you can always use escape to exit functions you're in. And if you're not sure, just look at the mouse, move it around a little bit. If no icons appear near the mouse cursor, you know you're out of function. And when you're in this mode, you can always drag and drop any part you want. Now, as you can see, I can move this part around any way I like. This part, I cannot. If I now delete this blue line by just simply selecting it, same as you do in Windows, and clicking delete, I only have a fully defined line in my sketch. There are no blue lines anymore. You can also check that by looking at the toolbar below. Here it says fully defined, which is good. So if I now exit my sketch, if I'm finished drawing my sketch, I know it's fully defined. So if I exit my sketch, I can do that in the top right corner by clicking on the exit button. If I click on the cross, I will discard everything I've done and it will pretty much delete my sketch. So if you want to exit the sketch which you're finished with, just click this button and you can exit. Now, if we go to the left here, we have our feature tree. Here we can see our features, sketches, etc. As you can notice here, my sketch is stated. If I right click and I can go to edit, I'm backing my sketch and I can edit stuff. Now let's see what happens when I add a blue line just randomly in this place. You can see here at the bottom it says undefined, which is not good. And if I exit my sketch, you can see there's a minus sign here. This minus sign shows that the sketch which you just exited is undefined and still needs a little bit of work. So Solidworks is reminding you, hey, go back to the sketch if you're done, because there's a little bit of work to be done here. So we can do that by right clicking and once again go to edit sketch. Now what happens if we add too much of too many dimensions? So let's add a dimension here. Let's make this 100 millimeters and let's add another one. As you can see, Solidworks spots a conflict. You can only add one dimension to a line. You cannot add multiple. It gives you the option to make the dimension driven, which pretty much means it's only there for an indication and it doesn't do anything. Or we can leave it driving, meaning there's an active conflict in our sketch. So now you can see we have too many dimensions on a line. There's only one dimension that can tell the line it should be 100 millimeters. Two is simply not possible. That's a conflict. It's also stated here at the bottom. It says sketch is over-defined. And here it shows you there's a conflict. Usually the conflict items are either marked in red or yellow, depending on the severity of the conflict. Now since this is yellow, I can still exit the sketch. But then I get an error message. Solidworks tries to tell me it's over-defined. If I close the error message, you can also see I get an error message on my sketch. And I get a plus sign saying there are too much, or there are too many dimensions. So if I once again change this, right click, go to edit sketch, delete this part, exit it, and it's okay again. That's all the information about fully defined sketches, sketching from the origin. And in the next item we'll discuss relations, sketch relations.